I kind of understand what the discouragement come from. A lot of men get discouraged whenever the mother of their child or whatever a significant other calls the authorities on them. It's hard to deal with someone whenever they chastising you with the what they call it, the billy club. They don't call it that no more, do it? So
Wait,
What should
she
you
wasn't
chastise
chastising
them
him.
with
She was
if
getting
they put their hands on you and you're pregnant with their child? It's
yeah.
either that or I try to take your life. So, like, you gonna
he
take
tried to take your
mine so
life.
I can
Hold on.
call the
So now that's two
police?
different things. He
So
tried
I
to
was
take.
pregnant. So I'm not gonna fight. Okay. So let's just clear this up. I was pregnant with my daughter. I was probably about maybe 2 months, if even that. I was really early on in my pregnancy with my daughter. He put his hands on me. I didn't fight back because I knew I could fight back, but I didn't because I was protecting my daughter. I ended up in the hospital after that for 7.5 hours and I almost lost her. If that brother didn't think he was getting locked up for putting his hands on me, there was and I'm not a cop caller, and I'm not gonna put a black man in jail for no reason. But what you put your hands on me when I'm pregnant with your child, that's where I draw the line. And then the police didn't do nothing. He got 2 days in jail, and then that was it. He was off to the races, and I had a
This is
5-year protective
domestic
order against
violence,
them.
right? 72 hours. What's the rule? 72 hours.
72 hours, and then they ended up giving him 1 year 1 year suspended sentence when we went to court. But they never I had a protective order against him, but they never took his house key away. Then he started harassing me. Like, it was a lot of stuff that happened during that time. So I ended up moving from Virginia back to PA with my family, and I never looked back. So whatever, took place during that time that he thought I was keeping my daughter away from him, I never did. I wanted nothing more than my daughter to have a father, but I'm not going to chase you down.
Well, we don't like to ask what was the nature of the abuse. You keep that story to yourself, but I think that will create some context, but by no means
Well, no,
necessarily
I don't.
that I
I
understand
have
that.
no problem talking about it. I was getting ready to leave him because he was not a he wouldn't keep a job, and we were getting ready to lose my I was getting ready to lose my apartment or my townhouse that was in my name that I was paying for, and he wasn't helping, and I was getting ready to lose everything. So I was getting ready to do a midnight move on him. I found a place that was in my price range and my budget, and my son, who was at the time like 4 years old, was like, "Oh, we went to see an apartment today with 2 pools." So he thought that, "Oh, we're all moving." And then I was like, "No, we're not moving, but me and my children are." And that's what sparked the
Oh, so you
abuse.
try to take the kids with you, and
They're my kids.
hold on, it ain't his kid either.
No, my daughter was the only one that the one I was pregnant with was his only child. I had 2 other kids
Oh,
prior
okay.
to
But
that.
was you considered what they call a package deal?
I was a package deal. Yes, I
Okay,
was.
well then now you got to kind of understand and that's the reason why a lot of men don't want to be stepfathers, because this is typically one of the things that happen. You will come in a relationship and you say I wear a package deal, and the man embraces the package deal, and then y'all don't understand this. We have a strong connection with the children that are up under our wing. They grow on us, even if they're not ours. But then whenever things hit the fan and y'all say, "Oh, I'm leaving and I'm taking the kids with me," it's almost similar to he taking his kids with him. Can't you understand that?
We were together for 3 months. That man was not that sentimental about my kids.
You don't. How can you
He
judge? How can
like
you judge his? Well,
because
that's
I know he wasn't. Like, there's
oh,
no way that you could, if I'm telling you that I'm leaving because you're not providing, you don't care about my kids and you don't care about me. You were looking for a home
what he
plan.
cared enough to tell you, hey, please don't go.
He didn't
Uh,
say please don't go. He wanted to beat me because I wanted to leave him.
uh,
So there's a whole there's a whole nother side to him that I didn't know or see. And this is what happens when you don't know someone and you marry them.
Yeah, so there's a couple bad
so you
things
had
in
a
there.
kid.
So
Hold on, you had a kid
you,
with him. You didn't. See, that's where I'm confused at, and then maybe you can enlighten
I got
me.
pregnant after we got married.
What I'm saying? How can y'all even today, like even at 47, like, how can you still push the envelope that I can have sex with this man, I can marry this man, cohabitate with this man, have a kid with this man, and still don't know him? And even today, you're still
There's
running with that.
there's people that have been married for 20 years that don't know their partner. you look at the Green River Killer. How long was she married to that man? And that man was murdering people, and she didn't know that. Like, so it's like people
Bundy
put up
wife.
people put up this facade. Because we went to school together. We were friends. So you think you know someone, and then when you move in with them, they turn into somebody completely different because you were seeing their representative. People.
Well, I didn't mean like knowing every inch and every secret and all that. I'm talking about knowing enough to be able to make the decisions that you are making. Like knowing him enough to, okay, I'm gonna live with you. We're gonna live together. Knowing him enough to, I'm gonna spread it open for you, impregnate me. I'm talking about knowing him on that level, not knowing him. Oh, I don't know if he got underlying motives about wanting to.
But that's the thing. You can know someone enough to want to be around them and be with them, but not know their tendencies. That I know he had abusive tendencies. I didn't until then after he put his hands on me. And
well, that's why I'm asking you. I'm asking, did you know him enough to procreate? I'm asking, did you know him enough to procreate, cohabitate, and marry him? That's what I'm asking.
I think she already said no.
You know somebody enough to know that you like them, to want to be around them. I didn't know he was going to become what he became. So
but that's not what I'm asking. I'm not asking you, did you know him enough to know that nobody knows anybody enough to know whether they're going to just flip and transform. But I'm asking you, did you know him enough to do the things that you had already done?
Obviously I knew him.
But that's all I'm asking. I'm not asking.
Be around.
There's no way you can a bait and switch or a change of behavior. It's just psychologically impossible to do that. That's why I'm just trying to lead the conversation to what you actually did. You procreated, you cohabitated, and you married. I'm simply asking, did you know him well enough to make those decisions?
I knew him enough to want to be with him. I didn't know all the other things until I moved in with him. So
I think
like I don't really know what you want me to say. Like I knew him, we went to school together, we were friends. I didn't know the inner workings of this man's brain. I didn't know that he was going to become the person that he was when we moved in together and I married him and got pregnant. Like do we know people? Do we ever know that?
I only had one question. You said y'all were together for about 90 days, so he couldn't really get attached to your children too long, right? Can you hear me?
I think she froze.
From the time we
okay.
Wait, I can see y'all. Y'all can't see me?
No, I can see you now. We got you. You back.
Okay. So from the time we went to school, we were in school together. We were friends and we were friendly at school, and then we started dating. From the time we started dating till he moved in with me and we got married was literally like 3 months. And then
damn.
That's what I'm saying. It was 3 months. It wasn't a whole lot of time.
So the only problem that most people will have with that, and I dig it, you changed now, but to expect a man to be a provider within 90 days is kind of out there. Like if someone expected me to be a provider,
expect you to keep a job. All I wanted was him to keep a job.
You said
I was keeping a job.
No, Trev, she started off and said he wouldn't keep a job.
He couldn't keep a job.
Wasn't helping with the
why did y'all plan a child? Why did y'all plan a child together?
We didn't plan a child. I got pregnant.
Oh, God.
They were operating in lust.
We're having
sex.
Operating
in lust.
That's the thing that happens. Like I don't really.
No, that's operating in ignorance. At 27, come on, 27.
Listen, whatever.
And you said you came from the environment. Like it just don't math. That's all. And I'm gonna let somebody else talk.
I feel like you could say it doesn't math, but I can understand her full story if you really look at the bigger picture, right? Her having an upbringing where she didn't have her father figure. She was out there on her own. She's trying to figure it out. Her first initial relationship was when she was 16 and the man was 38. So she already started off looking for someone to replace that father figure. So between 16 and 27, even though there was growth, right? There was change. She still wasn't at the level that she could have been had she had those already in place. I feel like she at that point was still operating off of a lustful mindset. I'm attracted to you. You're attracted to me. We got a little history. I knew you in school. I think I know you. They're saying we already cohabitating. Let's just lock it down. We did that, and now I'm pregnant because we were already doing this. Were those good decisions? Maybe not, right? No, now she knows that. Just because, and I think this is where the problem comes in. We always equivalent like age with maturity, age with where you should be in life, when that's just not realistic. We know 40-year-old men and women who still aren't there, and maturity wise, who still haven't matured, who still haven't gotten to the point where they should be making the right decisions, right? So she was still in a place of almost mental adolescence because she was functioning in lust. She was functioning in a space where she's still trying to find herself regardless of her age. And she actually had to go through that to realize, okay, I'm still doing things wrong. I thought I had it on point. I thought I made the right decision, but this just showed me I still have work to do.
So, Sean, here's the problem. Here's the problem, right? This is not an assault on Jamie B, right? What we are doing is illustrating where the flaws are. So people who would make these mistakes, this is why Jamie B, I think Jamie B understands it more than you do, only because she's not reacting as poorly. Not no shade or nothing, but she's taking it like a champ. She understands what it is we're doing here. She understands that we are trying to illustrate the flaws in her old logic, right? We understand that this is not who she is right now. She's learned from her mistakes, but there are a lot of people who are still in these positions who need to hear this. We need to tell people like, okay, this is what went wrong. That's all we're trying to do. I don't think Jamie B cares about it because she knows it's all in good faith. I have no reason to like really want to dog her today. That's not, there's no dog in that fight. Not for me. We want to ask questions. We need to see where this went wrong, because what happens is, if let's just say Jamie, even though she's very cooperative today, she may not have seen all of it. If sometimes you just got to walk it back and you need to hear the entire story and get the full context, so we can pinpoint every single thing that went wrong and articulate it so other people would not make this mistake.
I think the most dangerous part about this thing is, in my line of work, 8 out of 10 times or more, it's starting to grow more towards 90%. When you hear the other side of the story, there's some things that are left out that are critical. But you reserve the right to be able to stand on what you're saying because we don't have the other side. But just to ask, if you were to be completely honest, would the man that you had this situation with have the same exact story if he was asked?
I don't know what his story would be, because a lot of times men don't want to admit when they're wrong. I can admit that I picked wrong. I can admit where I was in this situation, but this goes back to our original point of being destroyed by lust. That lust was driving these particular situations, and no one is in their right mind when they're being driven by lust. So if you just want to sleep with somebody and then the church encourages you to legally get married so that you could do that in a legal fashion and not feel like you're being sinful, all you're thinking about is sex. You're not thinking about the other ramifications that come along with that.
I was talking about him though. He obviously
I don't know what he's gonna say.
What I'm saying, that's why I prefaced earlier on the lust thing that men have post-nut clarity. Clearly, he wanted to be with you. It wasn't a matter of lust for him. He wanted to live with you. He wanted to have kids with you. He married you. He wanted to cohabitate with you. And when you left, he did not want you to leave. There's no into lust about that. He wanted you. You were lusting, but you're saying that he don't want to.
But you put your hands on somebody, you don't want them to leave. That's how you rectify that. That's how you justify that.
No, that's not what I was speaking to. I kind of stopped talking to the abuse side because I don't want to. I don't want you to have this conversation and use the abuse side to back yourself out of a corner or shield yourself from this logic.
What I'm saying is I didn't leave him just because, I just didn't want to be there anymore.
Well, listen, how about let's just take a different direction. Can you at least understand, or can you at least accept that you were the one lusting? He actually was in it. He wanted to be there.
Well, I kind of feel like he was lusting too, because at the end of the day, like, when if we want to break it all the way down, bro was looking for some place to live. he was living with somebody that he didn't want to live with, and he really couldn't pay the rent anymore. So now I'm a home plan, because you see me with my own place and I'm doing well. I'm working, I'm going to school, I'm doing all these things. And so here you come. So I
So
already
you
had
saying
two
he was a
mouths to feed.
homosexual?
No, he was. I'm not saying he's that. I'm saying he a
No, hobo.
homosexual. Yes, that's
Yes.
exactly what he was. But now you come into my life, all my bills are paid, I'm doing what I got to do, but then you come in and you can't even keep a job. So that was the reason why I wanted to leave in the first place. If I'm going to be paying all the bills, I'd rather be paying them by myself.
Was he
I'm
was he
not going to
trying
be
to
living
was he
with you.
trying to get a job? I mean, I get it. He was losing a
He
job.
had 2 jobs and didn't want to go to work. He was
Okay, so that's different. Now you're changing it because that can't you see how that changed the context when you say he couldn't keep a job versus he didn't want to work? That's 2 different things.
But it's the same thing. You can't keep a job, meaning you don't want to work. So if you
No,
have a
that
job and
doesn't
don't
that
want to
doesn't
go to it,
necessarily equate to you don't want to work. I would
well,
often argue that a person that continuously go after it after being fired or rejected just has poor he's just a poor worker. He just have a poor work ethic, but he wants to work. But just saying he don't want to
he didn't want to work.
you didn't convince me that he didn't want to work. Now, if you would have said all he wanted to do was sit at home, he didn't even go fill out no applications, he didn't assert himself to go get a job, then yeah, I can side with you. But if you saying that he can't keep a job, maybe you can elaborate on why you think he can't keep a job, or why do you think he just didn't want to work? Because you got to understand
you
this.
got to ask him that. He didn't want to work. He was in school when we met. He didn't have a job when we first went. Once he no longer was going to school because he wasn't paying his school bill, so they put him out because he was going on a GI Bill. So when he couldn't no longer afford that, yes, former military, but he got out on a dishonorable discharge because I don't even know why. So I ain't even going to ask.
Did you know all this before you got impregnated?
I did not know all of this until his mother started telling me his business. So it's like you don't know these people until you start, it's all breaking. Now I started to see the patterns. I started to see all the things, and I was ready to go. I knew I made a mistake and I was ready to leave. So
but what could have happened different? Because on this platform we get a lot of stories. It's not exactly identical to yours, but we often hear that the women start to find out all of these truths that she needed to know, but it always happened after she conceived and give birth, which it just bedazzles us, because it's like, damn, why is it always after the kid comes? Why y'all don't never know this stuff before? And women never articulate where they drop the ball at as far as discernment early on.
Well, that's the thing. When you're not looking to be discerning, and when you're once again being driven by lust and sex, you ain't doing all of that. Now I'm finding out as time went on, because now his mama was like, no, because I'm like, you got to come get him. I'm over it. Now she's like, no, he's your problem now. So now,
but you do agree that he wanted to be there, though, right? You agree that he wanted to be there.
I believe he wanted to make sure he had a place to live. I don't really think he wanted to be with me. I think he wanted what I was doing for him.
If you would have okay, let me ask a different question. If you would have never said, I'm taking my kid and we gone, he would have still been there thriving with you?
He wasn't thriving with me, though. That's the thing.
No, let me change the word thriving. But y'all would have still been cohabitating.
If he could at least help pay half the bills, probably.
No, I'm just saying, if you would have never opted out and said, hey, look, I'm packing it up and I'm out, would he still been there cohabitating with you?
Well, of course he would have still been there. Where was he going? He didn't have nowhere else to go.
Well, so that's all I'm saying. So he wanted to be there off the strength of that.
He wanted to,
because everything else is an unknown. We don't know that, but we do know that he walked through the door every day. He walked through that door and he rests his head next to you every day. From that, we know that he wanted to be there, because I'm telling you, a man don't want to be there. He gonna be out. He'll find somebody else's couch to sleep on.
Well, he would. I wish he would have.
Because it would have
saved me a whole lot of problems.
All right, I'm gonna yield.